Welcome back to LMP Talks Wrestling. Apologies once again for the mini hiatus. I've been reorganizing my life and scheduling appointments since restrictions have lifted a bit around the area. How about you, James? How's the situation in your neck of the woods?
We're lifting the pub ban at the weekend, so it could go one of two ways. I feel it could go really well, or it could go terribly. Who knows?
Who knows, indeed. But at least people are getting a little bit more freedom back in their lives.
Exactly. I saw my grandparents for the first time in 3 months today, which was very nice. So
yeah, absolutely. That's a breath of positivity right there.
Yeah, it's great to see them. Absolutely great to see them.
For sure. And to push the positivity going, I also had the honor and pleasure of interviewing independent music artist Bentley Jones 2 weeks ago. If you love electronic and pop music, look no further than our SoundCloud page, where you can find the interview just below this podcast. But getting back to the wrestling side of things, how did you enjoy Fyter Fest last night, or at least part one?
Part one has set the bar for part two very high. I enjoyed myself a lot. A few little bits that were not up to the level I was expecting, but some were above and beyond what I was expecting. So overall, very, very happy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed myself too. I had some whiskey while I was watching it. I had some, 7-Up and whiskey, so that was good. So I enjoyed some whiskey, watched Fyter Fest, and just had a good time last night. And then right afterwards, I caught up on NXT.
Brilliant. Great night of wrestling.
Yeah, I haven't tuned into NXT, as I've said quite a few times. So it was nice to watch it. But I can tell you, while Sasha Banks and Io Shirai certainly tore the house down with that final match, I'm definitely thinking Fyter Fest got the upper hand last night. What were your stand-up moments or any favorite matches?
Well, starting off where it began, MJF with that promo talking about Jungle Boy's dad and all that money.
Yeah,
what a shot that was.
Yeah, immediately I was like, oh, that's not very nice. Oh, that's not very nice at all.
And then we got, I think, the best match of the night, starting us off hot. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy versus MJF Wardlow. Fantastic match. Great way to start Fyter Fest and really set me in for a very good time. I wish I had some whiskey, but it was 8:30 in the morning when I watched this, so a bit unsociable.
Oh, it's 8 p.m. somewhere in the world.
The sun is setting somewhere. I'm allowed it.
Sure, exactly. See, that's the spirit. Jurassic Express, though, yeah, with MJF and Wardlow, yeah, they really set the bar for the opening match of Fyter Fest. I really enjoyed myself. I think that I don't even know what to call it, but that step Canadian destroyer thing that Jungle Boy did on MJF was brilliant.
Yeah, I've called it the Stepping Stones Canadian destroyer.
There you go.
Yeah, using Wardlow and Luchasaurus, who were on the floor, to get to MJF, and what a way to celebrate Canada Day.
Yeah, it was Canada Day yesterday, wasn't it? We didn't really do very much. We just stayed inside and kept to ourselves for the most part. But over in the United Kingdom, it was just a regular day, wasn't it?
Just a normal day, 1st of July. So, yes, nothing special happens on the 1st of July here. But, yeah, going back to the match, it was such a great story still, this MJF Jungle Boy story they're telling with the synchronized kick-ups. Like, they did it with MJF and Jungle Boy, but then they did it with the two big bruisers. I forget how good Luchasaurus and Wardlow are in the air and their acrobatic skills, because it was just a brilliant match. Great fun.
Yeah. I've really come to like Wardlow and Luchasaurus. Their chemistry is great, and just being able to see Wardlow do these crazy things, I did not expect.
I think with Wardlow as well, you can tell when his hair gets out of place that he's really pushing, and it's just these little touches. He seems to have it all. Like I've mentioned it before on this podcast, where he does the braces pull with his his singlet, where he's pulling on the braces bit, and his facial reactions as well are brilliant. The bit where MJF nearly punched him in the face and then got kicked by Luchasaurus to actually punch him in the face was great bit of storytelling, great bit of choreography, and it's just, when you have a match like that, it sets the bar for everybody else. It's basically, you follow this, and it makes everybody step up their game.
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing out of all that was I really thought MJF and Wardlow would have won the match, but they didn't. Jurassic Express did.
Yes, well, I kind of had a weird inkling that MJF might lose because of what he was wearing. He didn't look very MJF-y, but he obviously didn't get pinned again. Wardlow got pinned.
Yep.
So MJF still hasn't been pinned by anyone in AEW. The only reason he lost is because Wardlow lost. Nothing to do with him.
Right, and which continues the seeds of those two together. But I actually thought that was going to be a slow burner, but maybe they'll just dive right into it and start feuding within a couple of weeks.
I hope not. To be honest, I was expecting a draw in this match. The longer it went on, I felt we'd have a time limit draw, which would have worked because you've got two evenly matched teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, MJF Wardlow, you can definitely see there are seeds there. MJF having a rant at Wardlow saying that he can't do anything right when he missed Jungle Boy was good, just before the spot where the ring went into Wardlow's face. So yeah, there's seeds being planted. It's this whole thing with AEW that we talk about, with them planting seeds and sending us off onto little storylines that we can follow.
Yeah, and I mean the second match on the card too, if you don't mind me going ahead.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, was Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford, and let me tell you, Penelope Ford is she's developed quite the rest, or she's developed a really good character, because we're starting to see her wrestling skills really come out now.
We've seen this slow progression of Penelope Ford being talented and seeing those glimpses every so often with the way that she moves around the ring, to her actually being in a match where, going into this, I thought Hikaru Shida, nice easy win, and I thought actually when she went for the running knee initially to start the match with, I thought this is going to be quick, this is going to be over. But Penelope Ford, using her quickness, using her athletic ability, actually got into the match, and Kip Sabian, coming back after being sent out before the match started by Audrey Edwards, using the kendo stick, or trying to, and distracting Shida, and then the stunner performed by Penelope Ford, that had me biting. I thought, that's it, new champion, which is not what I was expecting at all from this match. A great performance by Penelope Ford, and it didn't hurt Shida either. Shida looked menacing, her strikes looked forceful, which was my fear with this match. I thought, we might damage Shida a little bit, because it feels like we've just had her defending the title. There's not been much of a story with this. But yeah, great match, really good. Let's keep this going. Let's get this women's division up with the rest of this league, because it's there. The ingredients are there, and now Penelope Ford is starting to show that potential that she's got, and it's fantastic. Excellent work by her.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself. The fact that I expected the match to go, back and forth, but I didn't expect to look at that match and go, oh my god, I have no idea who's going to win. The amount of close calls that Penelope Ford had on Hikaru Shida, I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to win. She's actually going to win. And then she didn't win. But I mean, I also had that scare from you at the very beginning when I thought the match was going to end really quickly. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to job her out. And they didn't, which was great. And I think my most hilarious moment of that entire match was when Kip Sabian threw that kendo stick in the air and Hikaru Shida just caught it and cracked him with it. That was great.
That was great. For me, it was a little bit, you could see the strings slightly, but it was still great fun to see it. And Kip Sabian is good at that loser type of hard man. He's very good at that, where he thinks he's better than he is, and he gets shown up brilliantly. There was also a great bit of commentary that I noticed during this match by Chris Jericho, who was on commentary to start off with on Fyter Fest. Excellent form. Somebody mentioned grit. And
yes,
he basically ranted about grit, saying he'd never heard of the word until 2020, and now that's all anybody talks about. No more grit. It was brilliant.
I am so happy that you brought that up too, because I've been vocal about that for the past 3 months since WrestleMania started. I've been telling everybody. I've probably even ranted about it on this very podcast, but I have been ranting about to all of my friends about grit. Never in my life have I ever heard grit before. Not once, ever. Until WrestleMania, Edge started saying it. That was the first person who introduced grit into the wrestling industry around these parts anyway. So Edge came out and was all like, I got grit. That's what I got for this match and all WrestleMania. And then everybody just started saying it. Every single week. AEW, WWE. Grit, 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 grit. And we even had a joke amongst us, and we always said hashtag grit, hashtag grit. You can go back in the chat room and look back at all the hashtags, and you can see hashtag grit every single week. So the second Jericho said that last night, well, didn't we all have a laugh? Because I've been saying that for 3 months, and Jericho finally comes out and says it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
He was on excellent form last night. He is... When his in-ring career is over, he will be absolutely brilliant on commentary. We've said it before on here. He just cracks me up. He really is funny. He really is that good.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one. I've been thinking here that, where did this word grit come from? And I've been talking to people about it. I was like, where did this word grit come from? Do you use grit in your sentences? Have you ever used grit in the history of your life? No. Like, where does this word come from? Oh my, that was beautiful. That really, really was. I'm glad that you pointed that out, because I completely forgot about that. That was funny. Now, the third match on the card, which was personally, I thought this would have ended the Fyter Fest Part 1, but it didn't. And we had Cody versus Jake Hager for the TNT Championship, and Cody retained. Now, I didn't see Jake Hager winning here really at all. Especially with Cody just getting the belt. I mean, yes, he's defended it a few times, but still, it's still pretty fresh on him. And it was a good match. I think my favorite part was the top rope cutter there, where Cody jumped on the top rope and then he did that cutter on Jake Hager.
Yeah, that was one of the best bits. I enjoyed Cody's high flying ability and showcasing that. I didn't enjoy the match, to be honest. I thought this was quite weak. Hager, unfortunately for me, Hager has now had 3 opportunities to have really good matches. He's had Dustin, which he got away with that one. The Moxley match was boring and dull. This match really, for me, I wrote it down actually whilst I was watching. Hager is looking hot. He's looking tired. He's looking out of breath. This longer match wasn't suiting him at all. I just don't think he's got it to the level that he needs to be at with All Elite. There's better people in this company than him, and having him as Jericho's backup and Jericho's hard man is hilarious. It works. Having him in the Stadium Stampede match worked. As a singles wrestler, sorry, he's not for me at all. And Cody was really flying around and trying to make the match look good. Cody worked his backside off in this match, and it still didn't work for me. It's yeah, I did enjoy the finish though. The finish. Initially, I thought, something had gone wrong, but that was what I was meant to think, and I had to go back and watch it and see what had happened, with Hager putting in the submission and Cody rolling him up. But yeah, I wasn't happy with this match at all, to be honest.
I did enjoy the match, but I could definitely see where you're coming from. Like even in WWE when he was Jack Swagger, I I've never been a fan of Jake Swagger or Jake Swagger. Yeah, that's it, Jake Swagger.
Jake Swagger.
Jake Swagger.
He's coming next week.
Yeah, Jake Swagger and Jack Hager. There you go, or Jake Hager. I don't know. I don't know what his name is anymore, but you know what I mean. That old chestnut. I've never been a fan of him though in the ring. I never have, and it's kind of the same reasons that you were saying about being out of breath. And I personally I feel that he doesn't have very much charisma.
No.
And it's I don't mean to. I mean, hell, if a million other people want to be a fan of him, then that's awesome, great. If he grabs the fans, absolutely. But for me, I've just never been able to bite. Every feud that he's ever been in, I've just been meh. Like I've just yeah, it's there. Like when he fought John Moxley, I was like, all right, that's fine. Dustin Rhodes, yeah, it's all right. I've never walked away from any Jake Hager match and going, oh my god, that was awesome.
No. The only time I got excited was the build-up to the Dustin Rhodes match. I got excited, but the build-up to John Moxley made him seem a legitimate threat to John Moxley's title. But the match was such a letdown. And again, it was here. As I say, the special matches, Stadium Stampedes, and the joke kind of stuff, he's very good at. Maybe just keep him as the heavy for the Inner Circle. I don't think his wife being there helped either. She seemed a little bit wooden. I did enjoy her being called the uncrowned Miss United States, though. That was funny. That was funny. Well, it proved that they've got a sense of humour about it all. But she just doesn't. She hasn't got that. Again, what you just said, that charisma, that presence. And I think together it really shows, especially against a guy like Cody, who is surrounded by Arn Anderson. He's got Brandy there if he needs her. It's very stark, the difference between the two, and it really highlighted the shortfalls, I think, in Jake Hager's game.
It doesn't help that his wife is always like, if you don't do this, you're not coming home.
No. No dinner for you. Oh dear.
Oh, I think you and I actually spoke about that a few months ago when his wife was like, if you don't get this thing, you're not coming home.
Exactly. Well, that's possibly what's happened since he didn't win the title
this time. Oh my! All right, well, going into the fourth match on the card, which is Private Party, who defeated the Inner Circle. Now, this was another match where I actually thought Private Party would have lost and we would have seen the Inner Circle, but last night the Inner Circle kind of, had their ass handed to them. If I have, lack of better words, they certainly did. The Inner Circle lost, and Jake Hager just lost, as we just finished talking about. What do you think of Private Party versus the Inner Circle?
Yeah, I wrote down Santana and Ortiz really need to climb up these rankings. They're not ranked as a tag team, which is outrageous for me, because I want to see them against the tag champions. I really do, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen right now. Private Party, they're still at that same point that they were a few months ago, where you can see that they're talented. You can see they've got the spots. It's just getting to those spots smoothly. And it was good that Santana and Ortiz actually went to the same wrestling school as Private Party. They mentioned it in the commentary that Santana and Ortiz were the veterans of that school. And you could tell that they knew Private Party a lot more than other teams have known them. I think Private Party, it's not a problem necessarily, but since they got rid of the Private Party theme song, and now they've got this shot song that they come out to, I don't think there's the energy in the room as there was when Private Party first debuted and had those great matches with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. And with Matt Hardy being with them, they're going to learn how to construct a match. They're going to learn how to do those segues into the spots. They're definitely going to learn that. But yeah, I'm just at a weird point with Private Party. What I did enjoy, though, was Orange Cassidy came out to watch this match and sat next to the commentary table and put his feet up on the commentary table, still wearing the bloody shirt that he had from last week. And Chris Jericho just went crazy at him. Lost his cool completely. Absolutely lost it. And Orange Cassidy just sat there. Orange Cassidy.
Don't you just love that Jericho just treats everybody that way, though? Like, he takes face, heel, it doesn't matter. If he's involved with you, he'll treat you like you're a big deal.
Exactly. And it was good to see Pineapple Pete going to hold Orange Cassidy back. I mean, it looked like he really had to struggle to hold Orange back. Orange just was not bothered at all in the fallout with that, whilst Jericho was screaming at him. Absolutely lost it.
Yeah, that was definitely pretty good. Getting back to the Private Party match with what you said prior, I can see where you're coming from. I really can. It's really interesting to pinpoint exactly where where Private Party lost their energy, but I do get the lack of energy from the new song. And I'm not saying it's affected them in the ring at all, but yeah, the new song I'm not getting behind. I like the old Private Party song. I was really into that. Whenever they came out, I would just get right into it. And now the new one, it sounds good. It sounds like, maybe a decent rap record or something like that came out. But it sounds more like almost like a heel team.
Yes. Yeah, it's not as bouncing as the original.
Yeah, it's almost like the energy that they're trying to portray is lost in the theme song because it sounds more like a heel theme song when the other one was more babyface.
Yeah, I think you've nailed that. I think that the song it's more serious. Even though the lyrics aren't that serious, but it feels more serious. It feels more rappy, yeah. And not more of a party.
Yeah, exactly. But there was definitely some good moves in that match.
Definitely.
I really enjoyed that twister thing that he did off the ropes there. He went into the mat, or he went into the mat and did like some sort of somersault backflip off the rope and then ran back and did this twister thing. It was great.
Yeah, I think it's called a tornado. The tornado or hurricane or something. They're just mentioning winds on commentary, but
some sort of twister thing.
Yeah, it's like I say, the moves are there. They are there. You can see them, and they've got some great high spots. It's just getting that smooth match together that works. I did like the ending, again, with Ortiz's bandana getting put over his face, so he couldn't see properly, and then just missing out on the pin. So that was good. But it's just, I think having Matt Hardy there, like I said before, is going to help them in the long run. And I think that's been a deliberate decision because they've not progressed. We talked about Penelope Ford progressing so much in AEW, and I feel like Private Party haven't progressed as much as others. Britt Baker, another one, has progressed and has built up. Adam Page is another one who has built and built and built and built. So having Private Party given that chance just to build an opportunity, and I feel next week when they take on the tag champions will be a good learning opportunity for them.
Yeah, and I mean their finisher is great. I love Gin and Juice. I think that's a great looking finisher. Exactly.
They've got all the right ingredients. It's just getting them to create an amazing souffle, for example.
Exactly. Oh, now you're making me hungry. All right, well, the final match of the card, which was absolutely great. I really enjoyed it, but I was actually a little stunned over the ending, but I really enjoyed the match overall. Kenny Omega and Adam Page defended their titles against the Best Friends, and they retained. What did you think of this match? And shout out to Trent's mom.
Oh, Sue. I love Sue.
That was absolutely the most random thing and fantastic. I loved it.
It's when they pulled up in the people carrier, and I saw the driver, and I thought that looks like someone's mum. Who's that? And then they've been driven to the arena by Trent's mum, Sue, dropping them off. So Trent, Trent and Chuck leave the car, and then Trent's mum calls Trent over. Come here, give me a kiss.
Yeah.
There we go. Go and enjoy your match, honey. Oh dear me. Oh, it was brilliant. That also, as they came out, they obviously have a little bit of fun with Adam Page's tag above his announcement and his name card.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed, but this week it said he's not afraid to say the S word on TV.
Oh. No, I didn't see that. I love when they put those little adverbs or those little verb things in there with them.
Yeah, they do it with him, but then with Kenny Omega, they always put the title reign, so it's 182 days. It's like you can tell which one's the serious and which one's a bit of fun. But the match for me, it was great. It was good fun. There was I think it was a low key kind of barnstormer in a way. It felt a little bit slower than I was expecting. But the crowd seemed a little quiet for me. But once it got going and the appearance of FTR halfway through the match with their deck chairs and their beer watching the match, I think really kicked it up a gear. And the ending worked brilliantly. And after match as well, for me, the after the match, was where everything built up again and everything made me go, okay, here we go. We have got a tag team division that is so stacked right now in this company. This tag team division, I think, at the moment is the best thing about this company, which shouldn't be surprising given that you've got the Young Bucks involved, but there's so many good wrestlers, and Kenny and Adam Page, for me, it's not the right time for them to lose the titles. There's still so much more to give with this team, especially given the ending.
Now, see, I really thought the Best Friends would have won here. I thought maybe Kenny Omega and Adam Page, something would have continued that, or I don't know, something would have made the Best Friends win. I really, really thought this was their time. But now with Private Party going up against Kenny Omega and Adam Page next week, I definitely cannot see them losing the titles then. So, for all I know, I could be wrong. Next week, they lose them. But I can't see it. And I think we're going to have Kenny Omega and Adam Page hold on to those titles just a little while longer until a team that's ready to take them takes them. But I think it was a perfect TV match. Like, yes, it was Fyter Fest. Yes, there were pay-per-view quality matches on television. But as for two teams going at each other for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, I thought it was a great televised match. Like, really. It wasn't like, I didn't think it was high quality pay-per-view, but I definitely thought it was high quality television. I'm like, hey, this is on a Wednesday night. This is great. I'm really enjoying myself. Yes, they went for 15 minutes. That's all they had to do. Like, they didn't have to kill each other in this match. They didn't have to do crazy over-the-top things. They did exactly what they had to do, and I think they knocked it out of the park for what they had.
Yeah, I did enjoy the fact that Best Friends were countering Hangman and Kenny's offense. Because they've been against Kenny and they've been against Adam Page in singles matches. They know each other. Trent and Kenny were a tag team years ago.
Yes.
So of course they know each other. That really played into it, and the dodge of the buckshot. The last call with the buckshot and the V trigger. By Trent was really good, and then a buckshot wins it. So Adam Page has won the match for Kenny and himself. So he has got the higher ranking between the two in a way. He's got the upper hand. But then FTR wander down, beers in hand, give Adam Page a beer, give Kenny a beer, who they know Kenny's teetotal. They know Kenny doesn't drink beer.
Yep.
But they act like those guys that I've come across them in the past, where they know you're the designated driver, but they still give you a beer anyway. And there's that, yeah, we your friend here. Yeah. And of course, Adam Page takes the beer and drinks it. But Kenny takes the beer and pours it off the side of the ring, knowing that that was a dick move by FTR. And of course, Adam Page doesn't like that. Adam Page says, why did you have to be an arsehole about it? To Kenny. So we've got that fractious relationship between the two. It's still there. It's still bubbling underneath.
Yep.
It still doesn't take much for them to suddenly be at each other again. And it was interesting to see that the Young Bucks run out and they're with Kenny. FTR were with Adam Page. You've got tag team champions that aren't fully together. And it's just feeding more and more onto this story that's been building up. Revolution was where we thought it was going to pay off. This was February.
That is true. That is very true.
It's nearly 5 months ago. That was where we thought that was going to pay off, and they've still, obviously, certain circumstances have resulted in them keeping it burning. But I would like them to keep going. I want to see Kenny and Hangman against FTR. I really want to see that match. And for me, they need to keep these titles for FTR to take them off them. But I'd like to see the Young Bucks involved as well. That is, for me, that match that we had at Revolution between the Young Bucks and Kenny and Hangman, you add FTR to the mix, we might have possibly one of the greatest matches ever. I mean, we've had it at Revolution. We might be able to top it with those guys involved.
Yeah, we might just have that. And I mean, FTR having the titles, I think, would be great too.
Yeah, for me, they are the guys that should take the titles off Kenny and Hangman, because it just feels right. It feels right that they've come in and they've come to AEW. They mean business, and what have they done? They've got the titles straight away. And then for them to have those titles, and you've got the Young Bucks, you've got Private Party, you've got SCU. We've listed them before. You've got all of those. I'd like to see the Lucha Brothers against FTR and seeing how devious they both can be. That would be a great match. I'd love to see that, which we're going to get kind of a little highlight, a preview of next week at Fyter Fest. So, yeah, for me, AEW's tag team division, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about a lot of tag team matches happening, but that's because their division is so stacked. There's so many good wrestlers. It's unbelievable. And that's, for me, that's the best way to show off these wrestlers as well.
Yeah, for sure. Now, before we end Fyter Fest Day 1, there was one promo that I forgot to mention right before the Kenny Omega and Adam Page match, and that was Taz's promo with Jon Moxley. Now, for the people who haven't watched Fyter Fest and don't know, Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage will not be happening next Wednesday on Fyter Fest Night 2 because of the pandemic kind of scare thing with Renee Young. So I guess they're waiting to see, which is good. I want them to be as careful as they possibly can, given everything considered. But the promo that Taz cut was pretty badass. I like how he mixed reality with story.
Taz made me watch, and he made me pay attention, and he made me go, you know what? I wouldn't mind Brian Cage having that title, winning it against Moxley, so long as I can hear Taz talking about it and rubbing it in Moxley's face. The way that he commented upon the situation and the situation in the other company and saying, we don't run a sloppy shop here. You know that. The only thing you've got is the chicken shits. That really, I mean, Taz back in the day was a fantastic talker, and his commentary work obviously showed that. And when he was in ECW, he was this great threat and bits and pieces. But this guy, with Brian Cage stood behind him, not saying a word, but looking like he does, I want Cage to win the match and have that title and take it hostage.
There you go.
He looks like that, and with Taz talking him up, I don't think there's anything they can do wrong.
Well, that's exciting because I really enjoyed how you have a complete change of mind and change of heart because of Taz's promo. That's excellent, man.
Yeah, Taz has worked me. He's really done his job, and yeah, it just, I think Cage is in a position where if he loses, I mean, they could play it that, he lost because he wasn't ready. He was ready for next week and not the week after. But yeah, I think Taz he's really, I was high on Cage anyway after that, after the ladder match. If we go back and listen to our episode then, we were both high on him just to think, oh my God, look at this guy. He's a machine. But the more and more that Taz talks, the more and more I'm sold. And I didn't think I would want to see it, but I want to see it. I want to see Moxley having that title taken off him and then seeing what Moxley does next, because it would be interesting as a storyline as well. And as I say, taking the title hostage. Yeah, I've that, and that's from Taz. That's from Taz's talking. Taz is absolutely brilliant.
That's great, man. I love when promos can change your mind or pull on your heartstrings. You're like, oh no, because I love when that happens, because that's what makes it interesting. Now we have AEW Fyter Fest Part 2 happening next Wednesday night. We have 6 matches on the card. Who knows? They could add more. But with Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage happening at Fight for the Fallen on July 15th, the night goes Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy, Lance Archer versus Joey Janela, Nyla Rose versus We Don't Know Yet, the Dark Order versus SoCal Uncensored, which is really interesting with the whole Colt Cabana thing. FTR and the Young Bucks are teaming up against the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers, which I think will be a fantastic 8-man tag team match. And those words do not come out of me very often, let me tell you. And finally, we have Kenny Omega and Adam Page versus Private Party for the Tag Team Championships. So, any matches that you're briefly looking forward to?
You've missed one out, Cody.
Oh, did I?
You've missed one out. Yeah, it was announced after MJF and Wardlow and Jurassic Express. It's going to be devastating, this match. I can't stress how scary this match could be. We've got puppies.
Oh yes.
We've got the AEW Puppy Battle Royale.
I absolutely did. Oh my gosh, I am the worst person ever. Of course, how could I forget the puppies? Oh my god, and not the '90s puppies that JR that the King used to go on about.
Not the '90s puppies, although there were some of those on show, which I was a bit disappointed not to see the sexy men. There were no sexy men.
But yes, the puppies. Okay, so we have 6 matches, and then we have the puppy match.
Then we have
that happens after Fyter Fest.
Yes. Oh, that made me laugh so much when that popped up. I couldn't believe what.
I thought I drank too much at that point. I really did. I was sitting there, and I was like, "This happened, right?" Like puppies are happening on AEW next week, right?
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, I can't. It can't just be a play on the word puppies. There's got to be something else. They don't do anything by chance. So, yeah, there must be something that they're going to pull off with that.
Well, it's happening after AEW, so
Oh,
I'm not
is it?
really sure.
Oh, right.
So.
Oh, right. I thought it was happening during Fyter Fest. Apologies. I got too excited. I saw puppies. I got too excited.
Oh my, it's absolutely adorable. But honestly though, like I mean, Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy, that's my match of the night, I think, to look forward to next week.
I think so too. I think next week's match is taking away the Moxley Cage match really depletes it a little bit. It doesn't feel as strong as last night's episode. But SCU against the Dark Order, I'm very interested in. And as you say, Young Bucks FTR versus Lucha Bros and the Butcher and the Blade in their summer gear that they're still wearing. But I tell you what, Butcher looked fantastic behind the wheel of FTR's pickup. It really suited him there, with his glasses on. He looked menacing. I don't know what's going to main event it now, because I would assume it's the tag titles, but when you've got FTR and Young Bucks, surely that has to main event.
It very well could, but I'm also thinking that Cody might be defending his championship again, because he did say he would do it every week. So yeah, I'm wondering if they slide that in there somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that, because that was something missing, I felt, in last week's episode when he didn't defend it. I felt, ooh, hold on, you said you'd defend this every week. You've missed out a week. I wouldn't be surprised to see him against somebody next week. I don't know who, but yeah, I do like the feel of a lot of the matches. The only one that I'm a bit confused by is the Lance Archer Joey Janela match. That seems a little bit like it's come from nowhere. Maybe they wanted somebody else in there, but bits have had to be changed for that match. But Lance Archer is Lance Archer. He's got Jake the Snake with him. It's going to be good. Next week will be fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and especially after we've seen this week what else is going to happen with the Kenny Omega Adam Page story. What else are we going to get from that? Because Matt Hardy will be in the corner of Private Party, I've just realised. That could be interesting, because he fought with the Elite during the Stadium Stampede.
Yeah, yep. So we have an interesting night too next week, and who knows, that they could change things around. They could add some new things just to keep up with some of the changes that are happening over the next couple of weeks because of the beautiful pandemic that is affecting us all in various situations. No one likes this pandemic, but that is it. We will draw a line under it. That is the end of today's podcast. Now, before we go, I do have one more announcement for everybody else. LMP will be going on another hiatus for just a few weeks after this podcast. James and I have some ideas we want to try, so we've decided to use this time to start putting things together for future podcast episodes. We're going to rant, we're going to rave, there'll be quizzes, there'll be more guests, there'll be predictions, and much more. We'll also be focusing our wrestling talk mostly strictly AEW New Japan. We'll be doing WWE predictions as well, and whatever other wrestling predictions we can come up with. But yeah, it's so be sure to follow James at LMP_jam. That's my squatter. He's got class now. He's got rights. He's getting better, and you can totally
getting better.
Yeah, totally getting better. You're getting better, of course. You are absolutely improving.
I set the bar, Cody. I set the bar. And there's no improving on that.
I'm trying to help a little squatter out here.
Okay, right. I'm maybe getting too big for my boots. Hold on.
I could get you a bigger apartment. I'll take you out of the storage closet.
The boxes are getting a little bit cramped.
There you go. Well, we will definitely wrap things up there. So thanks to everyone who continues to listen to the podcast. If you want to hear your voice in here, simply send me a PM on any of my social media. You can send a PM to James on his social media as well at LMP_jam, as I mentioned before. You can find us at SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod, and you can search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. Thank you to everyone who continues to tune into the podcast. This has been LMP Wrestling, and we are signing off.